in Lenox, Alabama. Exodus chapter 14 today, November the 12th. Join us. Turn your Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Exodus. Chapter 14, somewhere in there. Okay, Genesis. I wonder why it wasn't coming up. Matthew, Mark. Never mind. Turn to Exodus chapter 14. We'll be there in a minute. Okay. Moses led him out of Egypt, and Pharaoh chased him. He changed his mind again. We'll talk about that. We're on Odyssey, Rumble, a bunch of places. They're all on Dr.Dino.com. Coming to you live from Genesis Baptist Church in Dinosaur Adventure Land, Lenox, Alabama. I think we need big lettering on the building like that, don't we? Sure. Yeah. Looks like about, those are 8-inch, man, that'd be 16-inch letters. Okay, never mind. We are an old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist church, KJV. Believes the Bible is the infallible, inspired, inerrant word of the living God. Believe it from cover to cover. So, Psalm 27 is one of thousands of scriptures that have been set to music. And I'm going to try to teach you just simple little choruses that I learned as a young teenager, going to Bethel Baptist Church. They were always singing little short Bible verse choruses, and it made you memorize scripture and not even know it. I get a lot of requests, but I'm going to sing anyway, okay?
No, I don't know this one. So
you don't know this? Okay. The goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I had fainted unless I'd believe now to see the goodness of the Lord to me. How many have never heard that one? We just sang it. Now pay attention, okay? Gee, wait. Now this one, you know, the very next verse, verse 14. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage. He shall strengthen thine heart. It's a good way to memorize scriptures. Simple courses. And by the way, good lesson for this morning. Wait on the Lord. Amen. He's got plans. Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay. I found a group that sang it with a different tune. Let's see. Over here. We'll just play a little bit of theirs. This is a family, all brothers and sisters, and man, what harmony. Okay.
Wait on the Lord, and he shall strengthen your eyes. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart.
Anyway, you can search the internet. There are thousands of good songs. And some of you ought to be filling your head with this kind of stuff instead of chasing Zelda. Wasting your time on dumb stuff, chasing a football around or a soccer ball. Fill your heart with psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing, making melody in your heart to the Lord. Anyway, I would encourage you strongly to readjust your priorities, what's important to you, and get God's word into your heart. That's a great one. That's the, how do you pronounce that? T-S-I-K, Sikira, whatever it is, the family. I like it. Okay. What are you waiting for? Come on down, visit Dinosaur Adventure Land. Today, Exodus chapter 14. Lord willing, we'll get through the whole chapter. And then I go on 15 tomorrow night. Thanksgiving dinner, you're all invited. Come on up 3 days in a row. We're roasting, what, a pig or a cow or something?
We're going to have a turducken.
A what?
Turducken.
A turducken?
Turkey that's stuffed with chicken and duck.
The turkey is stuffed with a chicken, and the chicken is stuffed with a duck, and the duck is stuffed with corn, because I feed it every day. Okay, never mind. All right. We did our first show Saturday night, last night, with Pat Urich. We're going to do a different vitamin each time. And what does it do for your body? You know, a good way to study mechanics is learn a little piece at a time. There's a lot to learn about a car engine. So pick one little slice at a time and study car engines. Or there's a lot to learn about building a house. Study a little piece at a time and then put it all together. Your body is really more complicated than a car or a house. So Pat Urich, up in Pennsylvania, I did their wedding 2 weeks ago. He and I are going to do every Saturday night just a little quick show on one vitamin. Where do you get it in nature? What does it do in your body? What happens if you don't get it? I found out my first date with my little Volkswagen, what happens when you don't change oil and you have metal shavings in the oil. I found out real quick. Little lights come on the dash that says, "You idiot." Mm-hmm. Yep. Lights. Okay. It's a lot cheaper to change oil than change motors. So if you want to help us to open for free Our ministry here has been free for 7.5 years. Come on down. Help join our 777 club. So I like what they're doing. Hovind needs a little help. He's a little, never mind. And join our 777. Go to drdino.com, or you can go on a channel. Let's see, website, drdino.com. It's got all kinds of donation places there. PayPal right there, if you want to do it. I got to update that thing again, brother. We keep getting more subscribers. Well, thank you. Okay. Make any checks if you want to do a check to CSE. If you want something before the end of the year, you got to hurry. Yep.
Just a quick thank you to those who have donated all year long.
Yep. Thank you so much. And if you want a tax receipt, do they get one automatically? But in case you don't, contact secretary at drdino.com. Okay. Get our creation seminar series, 18 hours, $50 for the whole thing. Get our series on, whoa, what on earth is about to happen, for heaven's sake. And I did a video many years ago on the Bible and health. It is part, do you have this one up handy there, brother? The whole special messages. How many are there in here? Special messages, 13 of them. The last one, magic tricks and how to do them. I like that one. I do a lot of that for junior church kind of stuff. Those kids, was it last night the kids came over? I did the magic rope trick and then pulled the rope through your neck and all that stuff. I love it. School ideas. Where's the bride? Bible and Health, videotape number 9. Get the whole series if you want. How much is it? $60 for the whole series, all 12 DVDs. We just want to get the word out and encourage you to live for the Lord. DAL, perfect place to bring your men's group, women's group. I think we need to quit retreating. We need to advance. Okay. Bring the Awana group down or something like that. Okay, slide number 12, 6, 4, enter. Exodus chapter 14. The Lord spake unto Moses. Just that is phenomenal. Why would God even pay attention to us down here? We're this big. We're a speck. But he not only pays attention to that little speck called earth, he loves you, wants to be your dad. Man, what a thought. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, that they turn and encamp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal-zephon. Before it ye shall encamp by the sea. Now hold it. Moses had been the vice Pharaoh of Egypt, and he knew his way around this area. He'd been wandering around it for 40 years. He knew this was not the way to go to Canaan. Have you ever been doing something in life, you feel like, man, I'm doing what God told me, but this something seems wrong. I'm like, Lord, am I on the right trail? What's going on? Sometimes God will lead you, and you don't understand. It's okay. You follow him. So God told Moses what to do. The people now have a choice, follow him or not. Moses says, we're going this way. I'm sure some of the people are saying, this ain't the right way. Okay, you go your way. I'm following that cloud, right? Brother Meister, you ever been in a church where some of the people did not want to follow the pastor and want to have a rebellion and we're taking over this place, church splits, and you've been at this for 60-some years. I've only been at it for 55. I've seen all kinds of things. Look, if you don't want to follow, get out. Go somewhere else. I get people here at this ministry all the time, they don't want to follow my leadership. Well, Hovind, you don't know what you're doing. Well, that may be true, but it doesn't matter. I'm doing it. I'm trying to follow God, okay? So lead, follower, get out of my way. This is the way we're going. What if the orders don't make sense? What if it looks like the wrong way? Do you still trust your leader? God said, Moses, tell the people we're going this way. Okay, Lord. That Baal-zephon place is mentioned 3 times in the Bible. It's where they worshiped Baal. There was a city that the pagans worshiped their god Baal in, okay? So they're in the land of Egypt down here. They're going to the promised land, the land of Israel. So there it is on a Middle East map. Of course, it's all over the news now with the fighting over there. There were been slaves here for a long time. They're supposed to go here. The shortest way is to go this way. But no, God led them, instead of going that way, he led them this way, down here. And they ended up stuck in what's called the wilderness. It's a desert. It's very mountainous and little bitty pathways between the mountains, a windy trail. They ended up over here. Now he said, Moses, tell the people to come down to Baal-zephon. Okay, but Lord, we're stuck. Can't get out of there. And Pharaoh will say, God's talking to Moses now, you take the people here. Okay, Lord. Pharaoh's going to say, the children of Israel, they are entangled in the land. Hovind translation. They're lost. They're stuck. We got them now. The wilderness has shut them in. and I will harden Pharaoh's heart, that he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon all his host. Why? That the Egyptians may know. These pagan, heathen Egyptians, God still wants them to know him. They don't want to, but he still wants them to. That I am the Lord. And they did so. And sure enough, it was told the king of Egypt, the people had fled. I mean, remember the 10 plagues? He told them to get out. And the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? And he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. Pharaoh, why have you done this? Would you like a little reminder, Pharaoh? Let's see, the river turned to blood. You had frogs all over the place. Remember that? And then the frogs died, and you had all the fleas and lice and midges, and then you had a bunch of wild animal problems and animal fever and boils, and the locusts came all over the place, and the hailstorm and the darkness, and then your son died, and you're sitting here wondering, why have we done this? Hello? What do you mean, why? Haven't you had enough? Some guy did a great chart on the whole book of Exodus. I just found it the other day. Loved it. They went from groan to glory in these 40 chapters in the book of Exodus. He divided it up. The first half up through verse 18, well, the first 12 chapters, they're in Egypt. The next couple chapters, they're in Sinai. And the next couple chapters, God is guiding them and giving them his laws. Here we got Israel in Egypt, Israel in Sinai. They're delivered, and then they get into this system where they can worship God. Out in the wilderness, let's go worship God. Here it is blown up a little bit. So Israel's in Egypt for the first 12 chapters. They're in Sinai. God delivers them, and we're in chapter 14 today. And then God gives them the law and how to build the tabernacle that he wants. So here we have the chapters up. Let's see. They're Red Sea deliverance, chapter 12, 13, 14, 15. They're going to be delivered at the Red Sea. And he, that'd be the Pharaoh, took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And the children of Israel went out with a high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea. Well, duh. I think an army can travel a little faster than a bunch of people with kids and sheep and goats and stuff, right? Beside Pihahiroth before Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched against them. And they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord. Look, God told Moses what to do. Pharaoh had a plan to destroy Israel. God had a plan to destroy Pharaoh. Wonder who's going to win that one. When Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord. Now, you see this, when they saw the Egyptians, they, oh no, we're doomed, it's over, we're done. You got to be a little careful about trusting too much on your feelings when you see something that bothers you. When Herod saw that he was mocked of the wise men, he said, go kill all the babies in that town. According to Hebrew tradition, they killed 22 babies in Bethlehem. Bethlehem's a small town. Killed all the children 2 and under. When they saw the star, they rejoiced. When they saw there was Jesus, they told him, get out of town. Kicked him out. Kicked Jesus out of their town. The multitude wondered when they saw the dumb speak. I see that at debates all the time. And maimed to behold, the lame to walk, the blind to see. When they saw. The Bible says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Children of Israel are trapped. They're not an army. They're former slaves as of yesterday. They don't have any idea about guerrilla warfare and training and how to run their SKS and all that kind of stuff. They don't know none of that. All they know is Pharaoh's chasing us with his army. And verily I say unto you that prophets, many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see and have not seen them. Can you still have faith even though you haven't seen? How's this going to turn out? I don't know. You trust God anyway? Things you have not seen, yet believed. Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard. Sometimes you got to just trust in things you can't see. Light affliction is but for a moment, working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look for things, we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. How can you look at things that are not seen? Powerful verse, better meditate on that one. And the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Yep. They said to Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou thus dealt thus with us to carry us out of Egypt? Here's these Jews saying, Moses, why did you take us out of Egypt? Excuse me, guys, let me remind you, you were begging to get out of Egypt for the last 200 years. What do you mean, why? Isn't this what you wanted? Well, yeah, but we didn't want Pharaoh to chase after us. Okay. Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt? Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians. Now watch this. It had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. Hold on, guys. Is that the only two choices? Atheists are good at this. They give you two choices. Did this animal evolve quickly or did it evolve slowly? Is there another choice? Like maybe it didn't evolve at all? It's called the false dilemma or the false dichotomy or the false binary. It's a logical fallacy. You present two options and the other side is supposed to choose which one you want. Well, let's see. The fallacy lies not in the invalid form of inference, but in a false premise that asserts that one among a number of alternatives must be true. It's a common fallacy that often appears in political speeches and advertisements, as well as informal everyday conversations. The fallacy involves presenting a limited number of options, as if they were the only options available, forcing people to choose between them. My dad was a genius at that. He was a sergeant in the Marines fighting the Japs in World War II, and every time they took an island, it was his job to set up a radar base. And he came the only survivor of his platoon after that war was over. But he was real good. He'd say, now, guys, Sarge, what are we going to do? The Japs are over there. Should we surrender or should we run? Well guys, there's more options than that, okay? We'd come in, Mom would say, hey, boys, the grass is real long and it needs mowed and the lawnmower is broken, okay? Dad would say, let's sit down, boys. How many options can we think of? How can we solve this problem? Number one, forget it. Do nothing. Let the grass grow. We'll call it a hayfield from now on. Option two, fix the lawnmower. Option three, buy a new lawnmower. Option four, shoot Mom so she doesn't see it. Option five, just go through and make put everything on the list you can think of. There's sometimes more than two options, okay? So they gave them two options. We'd have been better off serving the Egyptians than to die. But that's not the only choice, guys. Serve the Egyptians or die in the wilderness. No, there's another option. How about call on the God who just brought you out of slavery to protect you? Do you think about that as an option? How about let's beat the Egyptians? There's always oftentimes more than two options. Moses said to the people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Here's the Hovind translation. Fear not, stand still, watch God work, shut up. Hold your peace. That's the Hovind translation. Shut up. Don't do it. Just quit talking. Watch God work. And the Lord said to Moses, wherefore criest thou to me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Lord, there's 9 miles of Red Sea in front of us. Lift up thy rod, stretch out thy hand over the sea, and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I, behold, God speaking here, I bet Junior is going to cut that phrase out and say, I'm claiming to be God. You are a complete moron. Sorry. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. And I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his host, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I'm the Lord, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. Now, There's been an argument among the atheists and Bible scoffers and Bible haters. Did Pharaoh drown in the Red Sea? This is really a favorite of the so-called contradictions in the Bible. Did Pharaoh drown with his army? Let's see. Did Pharaoh die in the Red Sea? Let's see. Psalm 136. To him that smote Egypt in their firstborn, he brought out Israel from among them. To him which divided the Red Sea into parts, and made Israel to pass through the midst of it, but overthrew Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea. Well, let's see what the Bible says. Watch carefully now. Most of these supposed contradictions are very easy to solve. First of all, you got to have a King James. Okay, there are contradictions in the other Bibles. There really are. Okay, get a King James. Let's see. The angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. Isn't that nice to have an angel as a bodyguard? There's a story in the Bible where one angel killed 185,000 soldiers in one night. I want that guy for my bodyguard. Yeah, okay. And the pillar of cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came to between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel, and it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that one came not near the other all the night. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind. Now, wait. This is the God who made everything. He could have just spoken and made a path. But God sometimes chooses to use natural things like the wind. He doesn't have to. He controls all that. He chose to make a natural process like the wind. Blow a pathway across all that night and made the sea dry land. How long would it take to dry out the bottom of a sea? I forgot, no big deal, okay? They didn't walk through the mud, went through on dry ground. And the waters were divided, and the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Pretty clear? It's 900 feet deep where they went across. That would be a 900-foot wall walking downtown Manhattan. 90-foot buildings on each side, okay? And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them in the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. It doesn't mention Pharaoh, and maybe there's a reason for that. Pharaoh might have stood behind and said, okay, guys, go get them. And he probably maybe didn't go in. And it came to pass in the morning, watch, the Lord looked upon the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians. I don't think you could prove from this verse that Pharaoh was with them. Again, it might have been just a command, go get them. And he took off their chariot wheels, then drave them heavily. Even though their wheels are gone, they're still plowing ahead, trying to get there, okay, dragging the chariot. So that the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, and upon their chariots, and upon their horses. I read it carefully a bunch of times. I said, I don't think I could. It doesn't say Pharaoh was with them. And later they say, the scoffers will say, well, there's evidence. There's no evidence of a Pharaoh drowning in the Red Sea. Well, you may be right. There's evidence of a whole army drowning, though. See, they left Egypt, came over here. They're stuck by the seaside. God said, Moses, stretch out your arm, blew a pathway across the Red Sea, 9 miles across. They had just walked through this valley called a wadi, W-A-D-I. It's a dry riverbed that leads to a large beach where Moses and all the people were trapped till God parted the sea. From a satellite view, here's that little beach right there. They came out of Egypt. Let's see if I can't point. I can get my pointer over here. Here, look at that. They came out of this area up here, went all the way across, and instead of turning up to go to Canaan, they took a wrong turn, the Egyptians thought, and went down, end up on this beach. There it is. I just Googled it this morning. There's this really crooked pathway. It goes through all the mountains, and they're stuck on this big beach down here. So here they are following this crooked trail. The Egyptian spies go back and tell Pharaoh, we got him. And I'm sure there was griping and complaining about the leadership of Moses, and some thought he'd lost his mind as well as his way. He don't know where he's going, right? So they end up down here. Oh, on this beach, which you can Google. Red Sea's got two fingers to it, called the Gulf of Aqaba. They ended up stuck on this beach with nowhere to go. Pharaoh, when they heard Pharaoh's army coming through the same valley, they panicked. You ever get in a situation where you think you're just stuck and you're lost and there's no way out? And so what do? You get mad at God. Say, God, I'm mad at you, God. I tried to follow you and this so-called leader you claims you sent him. Now look at the mess we're in. We're all going to die. There's no way out, God. There's only two choices. Don't fall for that. That's coming soon when they say you got to have a chip in your hand or you can't buy or sell. You're going to say, there's only two choices. I got to get that chip or die. There's more choices than that. Stop and think, okay? So they're stuck on this beach. Ron Wyatt, who I knew, I texted his wife this morning, his ex-wife, he died, to see if she could call me on the program here. So far, nobody. But Nell, you're welcome to come on the program anytime. Let's see. WyattMuseum.com. I knew Ron pretty well. He was different theologically on a couple things with me, but he still doesn't affect what he did for research. South end of this beach, they found a pillar. And it came through that valley right there and got stuck on this beach. That beach would easily hold 2 million people. They dragged the pillar out. It had been covered in the sand, wiped it off. Some of it had been eroded, but some was still legible. And it was written in ancient Egyptian, or ancient Hebrew and in Egyptian, I think, two different languages. Then it said, this pillar was erected by King Solomon to commemorate the crossing of the Red Sea. So Ron and his buddies stood the thing up, surrounded it with concrete at the base to make it stand there. Gilbert Vincent's a good friend of mine. He's on top of it there from Texas. Call Gilbert. There's his phone number, and I haven't checked it in the last couple of years. But they found one on the other side. They found two pillars on opposite sides of the Red Sea. And both of them said this pillar was erected by King Solomon, which would have been about 400 years after the event. In Phoenician letters, it contained the words Mizraim, Solomon, Edom, Death, Pharaoh, etc. So right across there where that arrow is, there's an underwater natural land bridge. Right there. Here it is, the bathymetric from Nuwabe. The Red Sea is really deep, but right there it's only 900 feet. Well, 900 is pretty deep, but spread out over 9 miles, it's a nice gentle slope, down and back up. No problem for the people, their children, their camels. Let's see, Aaron wrote to me. He said, Brother Hovind and dear friends, I said, would you put this in a testimony? I want to hear this. He said, the underwater pathway at the Red Sea crossing site discovered by the late Ron Wyatt has received an incredible amount of criticism, including some creationist groups. When somebody called me, was it yesterday? Said, why doesn't that creation group, they think it's fake. I said, well, it's a good thing I don't work for them. Okay, and I don't. Has received incredible amount of criticism. We've taken 2 recent trips to the Red Sea with the latest sounding equipment to carry out depth soundings on the seabed. The data has proven the presence of the underwater pathway without doubt. And the reports and pictures of the first trip can be accessed at anchorstone.com. I don't know if that's still a good website or not. Okay. Our data does match Israeli bathymetric chart, and I, for one, would appreciate a public refutal by anyone who has publicly stated it does not exist. I believe it would be honorable to do so if one has published a lie knowingly, then learns the truth. Aaron, I agree. Good. So they went across on dry ground, and then but the Bible says the waters were a wall unto them. Exodus 14, on their right hand and on their left. It is still good. Anchorstone, where is it here? Anchorstone.com. Okay, if you want to get all this stuff on there. Let's see. So after they got through, Pharaoh's army started chasing them into the same valley. This made of water on both sides. I bet the soldiers were thinking, this is kind of strange. Okay. At the bottom, they have found human ribs, arms, bones, coral, chariot wheels, and there's some creationist groups saying, Hovind, that's not true. They did not find, I know. You read the Snoops, who claims it's not true. Okay. He's wrong. Okay. There is, all this is down there. Chariot wheels, gold. Coral wouldn't stick to the gold-plated ones, but they have 4-spoke, 6-spoke, and 8-spoke chariots. And here is chariot axle. The Bible says God took off their wheels, doesn't it? There's all kinds of YouTube channels and websites, pro and con, about this finding. Chariot wheels discovered in the Red Sea. Here we go. The chariot wheels in the Red Sea. There's a video. I think it's, did I keep it called up here? I don't think I did. I like it. Nice song. That's not what I wanted right now. Okay. Let's see. Never mind. We'll find it another time. Just type in chariot wheels in the Red Sea. And you'll find some say, no, it's not true. It's a bunch of baloney. It's not true. Others say, oh, it's true. I've been there. I've not been there yet. Okay. But I knew Ron, and I trusted what he found. I think he did find the Ark of the Covenant, the real Noah's Ark. There's some creation group saying that's not Noah's Ark. You're just jealous because you didn't find it, aren't you? I didn't find it either, but I promote other people's work. Okay. So they came across the Red Sea, ended up with, over here's Mountain of Laws, which is in Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai is not in the Sinai Peninsula. Over there it is right there. It says, Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength when the morning appeared. And the Egyptians fled against it. And the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. Again, it doesn't say Pharaoh was with them, the host of Pharaoh. There remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on the right hand and on the left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. This is a good verse to use for those who are against capital punishment. Look, I think capital punishment is essential psychologically for the victim. If somebody breaks into your house, like Israel, broke into their land, killed 1,400 of them, tortured and slaughtered and cut off the heads of the babies, I think they want to see them dead. Okay? That's a normal human reaction. Somebody breaks into your house and rapes or kills your daughter, you're going to want to see them dead. And I think there's a psychological release when finally the guillotine drops or the rope tightens up around their neck and they hang them, or the electric chair, however they do it. But capital punishment is essential to have a good society where people do what's right. Deterrent. I was getting ready to shoot this guy at a firing squad one time, and a skeptic in the crowd said, do you think this is going to deter crime? I said, well, for him. It's sure going to deter him, that's for sure. Thus the Lord saved Israel. They saw them dead. And Israel saw the great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians, and the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. Sometimes you just got to wait. You're standing on the beach, the enemy's coming behind you, you can't possibly see a way out. What do? You wait on the Lord. Yep. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage. Wait on the Lord and be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. I hate the waiting part. I'm in a hurry for everything. I take 3-minute showers, used to be 2.5-minute showers. I get dressed, I get to work. I'm in a hurry constantly. Sometimes you got to just wait. That's the hardest part for me. Just wait. What are you waiting on? You see, you've got a hopeless situation. Well, first of all, did you create your own situation? Maybe you caused the problem, okay? If you spent all your money on dumb stuff and now you're broke, I don't think that's God's fault, okay? But sometimes you just, through no fault of your own, you're just in a bind. What do I do, Lord? Just wait. He'll come through. All right. Any questions or comments real quick, brother? We're going to go to Chinese today for lunch. Bill Sardi, good friend of mine, he was one of our trustees of our ministry, actually. I knew him for years. Stayed at his house in California, and I would say very, very close friends. Called him frequently with health issues. Something happened, I'm not sure what, but they put him in the hospital, and he said, do not put me on the ventilator, do not give me this drug or this drug, and they disobeyed all three, and he died. One theory is it was intentional to shut him up because he was, see, doctors don't necessarily want cures, they want customers. That's, it all goes back to the love of money. So Bill's gone, but Patrick is doing a great job memorizing all his material, and he's got Bill's notebook, I saw it, with real fine print. It's got to be 800 pages, and Patrick's got that. So we're going to do a program every Saturday night. He's going to share some of Bill's knowledge on our show and on other channels, okay? All right, let's see. Other questions?
Yeah, this one and this one is the same, both about you doing a show on Sabbath.
Episode on the Sabbath. keeping the new covenant. I've covered this a couple times. It's only 11. Let me go real quickly to, there. On my video number 7, I cover the question, are Christians supposed to keep the Sabbath? And let me show you, that's on seminar 7, question answer, where I cover, put my slides back up there. No, not that one. But I do need to close that one down. Let's see. How do I, there, okay, good. So what about the Sabbath? Is it on this one or, there. Seminar 7 is, I'm not seeing first column, second column. What about, I thought, what happened? Maybe I'm starting a new slide presentation.
Second column.
Second column, Red Sea crossing, Sodom. Oh, second column. There we go. What about the Sabbath? Aha, thank you. Only got 3,000 slides in that one presentation. Okay, Sabbath is the 7th day. I don't think anybody argues about that. 7th day of the week. I don't think we know that our calendar matches the original creation calendar. Sabbath might be on a Tuesday. I don't think anybody knows anymore. What?
It might not be on Tuesday.
True, we don't know. It might be on Monday. It might be Saturday. Okay? They might have it right. I'm just saying I don't think you could prove it had the right day. On the 7th day, God ended his work, and he blessed the 7th day. It was finished. I was mowing the church grass one time on a Sunday afternoon. This guy stopped and said, I'll never come to your church. I said, well, why not? He said, you're working on the Sabbath. I said, well, first of all, the Sabbath was Saturday, and this is Sunday. Secondly, God rested because he was done. Yeah, I'm not done. When I get done, I'll go take a break, right? So anyway, the Sabbath, he rested from all his work. God rested on the 7th day because he was done. Later, 2,600 years later, he gave the law to Moses. 2,600 years later, and he said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. God told Moses to command the children of Israel to honor the Sabbath. Now, there are lots of churches that claim to be Sabbath keepers, and I don't fight them. I don't want to fight them. I got other battles to fight, okay? The Seventh-day Baptist, Seventh-day Adventist, the Church of God, the Creation Seventh-day, wow, it's a long name, Creation Seventh-day Adventist Church. Boy, you got to put all that on their sign every time. Let's see. Anyway, I don't fight these folks, Sabbatarian Pentecostals, British Israelites from Garner Ted Armstrong, okay, Judaizers, etc. Many people in churches today meet or worship on Saturday and think the Bible commands us. That's fine. I'd rather have them serve God any day than do nothing, okay? Every day of our week has a pagan holiday. The names come from a pagan god. Sunday was the day they worshiped the sun. Moon Day, Thor's Day, Tuesday. Woden's Day, Wednesday. They're all based on pagan gods. So the name, seventh day, is what it's called in the Bible, or Sabbath. We call it Saturday, which is Saturn's Day, okay? So all of our names and many of our months and a lot of our culture comes from pagan holidays. That's a different story. We do not know if the Roman pagan calendar we currently use is the same as the original creation week. We don't know that, okay? Does God require Sabbath keeping for the Christians? The law was our schoolmaster to bring us to Christ, he said in Galatians. We're no longer under a schoolmaster. The law was given to bring people to Christ, but this does not keep us in Christ. The law is like a mirror. It shows you, wow, you need to brush your teeth and comb your hair. It doesn't comb your hair for you. It just shows you need to do it. The law shows you, wow, I'm a sinner. Okay? They came down, Nehemiah, he said, you came down from Mount Sinai, that would be Moses here, and made known unto them the holy Sabbath. Well, hold it. He made known to them the Sabbath 2,600 years after the creation, 2,500 years. There's no record of anyone from Adam to Moses keeping it. I'm not saying they didn't, there's just no record. So God rested the seventh day, I agree. First mention is 2,600 years later. Gentiles are going to keep the Sabbath with the Jews in the millennium, no question. They'll be glad to. Should we, though, now? There's no evidence of anybody keeping it for 2,500 years. God has given you the Sabbath. He said, these are the rules now, abide every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the seventh day. Okay, well, if you really want to keep it, you can't go out of your house. I have said thousands of times, and I'll say it again, I've never met anybody who keeps the Sabbath according to the law. They keep a little part of it and think they're spiritual. Okay? To really keep the Sabbath, you can't go out of your house. Then they want a Sabbath day's journey. Well, what's that about? Remember the Sabbath, don't do any work. Thou, thy son, thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, you can't work and you can't make anybody else work. So you couldn't use any utilities. If you really want to keep it, you can't use any utilities and you can't go out of your house. Don't turn the water on because you're making somebody at the power company work for the electric to pump the well. You can't make anyone else work. You rested the Sabbath day. If you do and break these rules, you'll be put to death. That's pretty serious, okay? Penalty was death. Kindle no fire. Well, that means you couldn't start your car, you couldn't have hot water, you couldn't turn your furnace on, you couldn't start any internal combustion engine. I mean, if you really want to keep it, fine, go for it. I just think saying, I've never met anybody who does it. Never. No cooking, no fire, can't start your car. He said, the children of Israel, the Sabbath ye shall keep, it's a sign between me and you. My take on it is, this was for the children of Israel, okay? I'm Norwegian. Children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath. The children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath. So the elders of Israel said, I gave them my Sabbaths. They shall be a sign between me and you. Look, I want the truth, okay? If I'm supposed to, I'll do it. I'll change today if somebody can show me from Scripture. I'm just saying the Sabbath was for the children of Israel. I think it's pretty clear. Jesus went out on the Sabbath day. What's he doing out of his house? He knew all of this was a symbol, okay? Why do they on the Sabbath day? Anyway, I cover this on video 7. I don't want to take any more time on that. The Sabbath was made for man. So no mention of the Sabbath being a day of worship for 4,500 years. It was a day of rest. In the millennium, it'll be a day of worship. But it was a day of rest for the Jews, that's all. Come to pass, ye shall speak. Okay. Anyway, and one more question, brother, and then we'll quit. You ever had private or public screenings for your films in theaters? I've never done it. Anybody's welcome to do it. If someone wanted to have a small town theater showing, would it be okay with you? Yes, you got my permission. Go get them. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Please do it. Many people have like movie night at their house on Saturday, invite the neighbors over and show one of my videos or show 10 minutes. And that's a good way to get your neighbors mad at you. All right. Chinese restaurant. Let's go.